This is a JTP audio podcast.
Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the round table and roll initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons. Hey, this is Jason, all by myself today. Jack is super busy running stuff for his brewery, and Josey just landed across the ocean. She's going to go study abroad for a while. But that leaves me here, all alone, with no one to podcast with, and my game session tonight just got canceled. It happens. Your session last week ended in a big cliffhanger, and you've been losing sleep over how it's going to play out. You've been counting down the hours until you get the roll initiative, and then it happens. Your Discord starts pinging. It's like, hey guys, I got called into work, or sorry, I'm sick tonight, or my mom grounded me, and we're like, dude, you're in your 30s, and he's like, haha, yeah, I know, whatever, peace. And now you're here with dice in hand and a wizard robe on and no adventures to be had. So is it time to catch up on the chores and errands you've been putting off? Hell no. Here's 7 things you can do to be a good player even when your party's away. Number 1, you can update your notes. So I'm going to get very candid with you guys. I'm going to reach off screen here and read you my actual notes from my actual campaign. Yeah, you ready for this? All right. It says, Denafrius, disdain for the flats. Leothana, rules flats. Sibs, plague, green rot, 3 seasons. Hired bodyguard, 4 years. North, apothecary, wants rocks. Potions, 6 crossed out, 5 crossed out, 3 crossed out, 1. Map mines, strag away all night, trust, ? Green equals poison, ? I don't know what any of this means. And that's literally all I have written down here. My other players may have equally terrible notes, but maybe between all of us, we may be able to form a complete story or at least one complete sentence. So I would start by really trying to remember your campaign. And if you play on Zoom or Discord, maybe someone recorded it, and you can go ahead and listen back and really just try to write better notes. Now that you're not in the moment and now that you're not trying to make sure there's no bandits around the corner, you may be able to, write out more cohesive sentences. Number 2, update your character sheet. So I'm also going to use my newly found downtime to make sure that my sheet is up to date. If you're using D&D Beyond or Roll20 or some other digital character sheet, this should be a pretty quick process, but let's just take a look. Did we level up? Did we short or long rest? How many hit dice do we have left? Are my spell slots accurate? And while we're at it, let's take a look at our inventory. So those potions that I kept crossing off. Let's get all those together in the notes along with any other consumables I'm carrying and make sure they're in a nice little concise little spot. And of course, if we ended with a long rest, let's double check the spells I have stocked and actually make sure I have what I want. Maybe we just finished a combat heavy arc and we expect to see more social manipulation spells rather than damage and buffs. This is all excellent stuff to have ready before you get to the table next time, so you're not that guy that is looking up spells when everyone else is ready to start going. Number 3, clean your dice. You can spray them with a little Windex, make them sparkle, and that's all nice and good, but I like to take all my D20s and just roll some of the ones out of them. Just go down the line, get that stupid one out of the way, and now you got nice clean dice. Number 4, role play exercises. Your character does more than just smash things for 2 hours a week, right? They should be a living, dynamic personality with hopes and dreams and a journey that's led them to this moment and into the next one along with you. So I found this article on purplelizardman.com, which is a hilarious name, with questions you should ask yourself about your character. So you got a night off now, so go ahead and take a look at these and really think about these questions. So questions like, your character is at an inn waiting for someone. What do they do while they wait? Your character just failed a task given to them by a friend or relative. You know the task was important to them. And how does your character handle the failure? How do they break the news? Your character has fallen gravely ill and is bedridden for weeks. What do they do during this time? Visitors are scarce. How do they handle the long, lonely hours? Who comes to visit them the most? Your character comes into an enormous fortune that cannot be spent on magic items, potions, scrolls, or equipment. What do they buy? Do they spend like there's no tomorrow? Do they keep it? What is one thing your character desires most in the world? Is it love, friends, money, redemption, power, or revenge? And at what point would they be willing to sacrifice their friends to get it? So these are just a few questions on this list, and the rest of it is so good. I'm going to post a link to this in the show notes so you can go check it out and get some ideas flowing. Number 5, run a one-shot. So check back to episode 16, just a few episodes ago. I did exactly this. We talked about that there. I'm sure some of your other players are just as broken up about having the night off as you are. So go download a quick one-shot, and I'll link my favorites in the notes. Read it over and just go get playing. Either roll up new characters like we did or run it as a non-canonical side story using your existing characters. One-shots are fantastic. A really great non-committal way to keep playing while you're waiting for your real campaign to come back. Number 6, watch or listen to actual play content. There are hundreds and hundreds of groups who are playing D&D on their podcast or live stream, and some of them are even good. So start with some of the big names like Critical Role and NADPOD, and if they're not quite your style of play, maybe check out some of the smaller streamers on Twitch and see what they have to offer. Most of us get to play once a week, maybe 3 or 4 hours at a time, but I like to binge entire campaigns from actual play podcasters. So with my commute, I say I average about an hour a day of listening. So even though I'm not playing myself, I'm still able to experience a game being played for upwards of 10 hours a week. So hearing experienced players and DMs run a tight game really helps me keep sharp when it comes to things like spell stock and magic items to interact with and how they solve problems without combat and even rudimentary things like saving throws and action economy. Option 7, you can quit. Sure, it's the nuclear option, but maybe this isn't the first time you've had a session cancel. Maybe this is the last straw. They say no D&D is better than bad D&D, but maybe bad D&D is sounding pretty good right about now. There are so many Discord servers, Roll20 boards, Facebook groups, friendly local game stores full of players looking for someone to join them. And if you're not having fun with your group, there are plenty of others to be had. And if the new group is worse, then send us your RPG horror story to curmudgeonsanddragonspod@gmail.com so we can talk about it. So I'm sorry your session was canceled. Mine was too, which is why I had so much time to make this podcast. So I guess bonus tip number 8 would be start a podcast. I don't know. Jack and Josey will be back very soon. I miss them so much. Thanks so much for listening. Go forth and adventure next week, if everyone's not too busy.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.